Talking wrestling, living the dream. From Tokyo to London, across the globe, respecting the craft, we're in the know. No gimmicks or fakes, just pure passion and skill. The best talents from every wrestling hill. We dive deep into the stories behind the ring. Respecting the craft, making the fans sing. Respect the craft. Respect the crowd, respect the fight. We bring the best, we can't hide.
We are live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Respect the Craft. This is episode number 368, and I'm joined here by we got Mr. Brett Webb. What's going on, man? Good afternoon. I'm usually used to saying good evening with these, but
Yeah,
good
yeah.
afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Hope you are. Glad to be joining you.
No, thank you so much again. Can't wait to. We have lots to discuss. We have lots to talk about here. When Billy came with the idea of, hey, let's really get to put over the museum as well. I said, why not? Great idea here to be able to talk to you, and let's talk about all that. But before we do, I do have a question I like to ask everyone that comes on, and that is, you heard the name of the podcast. It's called Respect the Craft. So for you, when you hear that term, the craft, what does that mean to you?
I think growing up as a wrestling fan, and I mean, well, and just like anything else, but see it more of an art form, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, getting to know a lot more people in the business and being around these guys and kind of being behind the scenes. That I think that's really what it means is respect that artwork and appreciate what these guys do and what this business means.
Got you. No, love that. So now let's get into that though. When it comes to, again, we talked about it even before off the air of your love for this and the business. What was it that made you decide to get involved in the way you did, as we talk about now with the museum and the great collection you guys have there, and just what that brings to the business here?
So I grew up around here, um, and I guess about 12, 13 years ago, a friend of mine asked me to be on the board of directors here. And museum's been here since 1987. The short backstory there is Dr. Rankin was a local doctor here. He started collecting things when he was 6 years old and was a lifelong collector of things all over the world. So he built a 4,900 square foot museum to house this collection. In 2015, um, Jackie McCauley, who was a very close friend of Andre's and lived here and was one of the caretakers with her late ex-husband, Frenchie Bernard, decided she wanted to donate all of her, personal belongings and have them on display somewhere. Because, rather than them sitting in her house or in a box or, for just her to treasure, she wanted them to be on display, and she wanted them to specifically be in Ellerby because, this is where Andre called home the last 13 years of his life. Um, so on the wrestling side of it, we really got into it then. We're a museum of natural history. So we've got a very large Native American collection, one of, if not the largest collection in the Southeast. And again, things from all over the world. But once we brought in the Andre exhibit, we started seeing more and more people come just for Andre. And which is, it's been great to see. I'm in here periodically and I bump into people and say, hey, I always ask, where you guys from? And I've heard people say, from Richmond, Virginia. That's like 4 hours. And they'll drive down here to see everything. So to see the love that people still have for Andre, and they want to come down, they want to not just ask questions about Andre, but they want to talk about Ellerby because they hear the stories. Andre went to the local burger joint here. Andre went to the hardware store, and Andre had a lot of friends. And one of the other significant parts of the museum here that I guess most people probably wouldn't realize is Dr. Rankin, who passed away in 2010. Doc was a very close friend of Andre John. So it kind of brings it all full circle to have that collection. We actually have a picture that's been here for years, but I'm looking at it right now. It's a picture of Andre sitting in the museum. Um,
That's
so
that's crazy to think about because that's poetic to think years later that now it's become such a figure uh, in the museum. Just having that and having that history, that's insane.
yeah, I mean, it's really just become a big part of it. And Jackie and Chris Owens out in Illinois. Chris is, I mean, a fan, but as far as Andre goes, I don't, I would put him up against anyone in Andre trivia. I'll put it that way. He I can point to anything in this museum and any picture and say, well, what was this? And he'll tell me exactly what it was and what was going on that day. And he was a very, very important part of putting this in this collection and curating this exhibit.
Notch. Yeah.
And he actually came down for the Andre show and brought some of his personal stuff and pictures that are no one have seen and showed fans.
That's awesome right there. And again, that show he's talking about was the first time that Titan made its way down there with a giant celebration. Talk to us about that to be able to do a show like this and also for the fans that might not know how this became a working relationship here with the Titan Nation.
Oh, it's not something I'd really seen in the future for us, but back in early 2023, I was introduced to Dave Mooch, from Jersey. He came down here. All these guys are big Andre fans and wanted to see the exhibits. And I was talking to Dave. I said, it's been a dream of mine and our board. We'd love to do an Andre, celebration, Andre event sometime. And he stepped outside, called his boss, Mike Hefner, from Leland's Auctions, and came back in 2 minutes later, said Mike wants to do it in August. So I was like, all right. So my foot was in my mouth. It was like, let's go. So we started putting it together, and Dave had a lot of connections in the business. And that's when he introduced me, looped me in with Billy and Kevin, and we started putting a show together. And so we had the show that night. During that day we had a lot of talent come in from really all over the country. We had Mark Henry was here, DiBiase was here, Haku was here, Andre's daughter came, Fred Ottman, Bob Orton, I mean, so many.
Yeah.
It was just it was amazing, and I grew up in that era. I'll be 42 this week, so I grew up watching DiBiase and Haku and these guys. So it was kind of surreal to me to be there. And then to have the caliber of talent that Billy and these guys brought down to do a show, I was blown away. And I think everyone that saw the show here in town, they didn't know quite what to expect. Like, okay, Rankin's doing a giant celebration, and there's food trucks and vendors, and we get to go see Andre's stuff. And then that night, the pyro starts and the screen's up, and these guys are coming out, and it's serious business. This isn't a it was very, very professional, and the talent was just incredible. And it made a huge impact. So I've had people asking me, I can't tell you how many people have asked me around, not just around town, but tracked me down on social media. Hey man, when you doing another show? When you guys going to do this? So the giant celebration, it was our first event of any kind like that. It went very well. We raised money for the museum. A portion of proceeds, just like this weekend, a portion of the proceeds from the Titan show goes right back to the museum. Obviously, we're a private 501c3 nonprofit, so we need every dime we can get. And Billy and these guys are, I mean, that was their whole point. They wanted to come down here and help us out. And I know a lot of it's just paying homage to Andre and this town, um, just because of what Andre meant here, um, and wanting to do it as an annual event. We talked about it right after the show, and it was last year we needed to do a renovation. The museum again's been here since 1987. The carpet was getting old. It was just, I mean, still looked great, but was dated. And my board and I started raising money in early 2024. And this past winter, we completed the project, putting new floors in, renovating the bathrooms, painting everything. There's a guy outside right now painting our new logo on the outside of the building. Landscaping, I mean, you name it, we got it done. We raised it over $100,000 in grant monies to get it done. And so wasn't long after that, Billy comes to me, tells me about, the Dad's Day. We've been doing it 5, 6 years up in Jersey. We want to bring it to Ellerby. And I said that, let's go. This is the opportunity. Let's move on it. So it worked kind of perfect timing with finishing up the renovation, and our board wanting to do kind of an open house, show the public, show the community what we've done, what we've accomplished here, and letting that go hand in hand with a Titan show just seemed to be perfect. Um, so that's where we get renovation celebration. So it's a little bit different angle this time, but still showing off the museum, still gonna have a great wrestling show, and gonna have food vendors. We're doing something for the kids that day. We have a a flume outside, that runs water where kids can pan for gems or fossils, and we do free events a couple of times a year. And one of those is that's what's going to kick off renovation celebration at noon on Saturday. We'll have the kids out here looking for precious gems, and then we'll have live music from 4 to 6, and at 6 the doors open at the middle school, and it's on from there.
There we go. Again, what he's talking about right there is going to be this right here, that renovation celebration. Again, a lot to that will be happening that day. And it all concludes, like you said, 6 p.m. We'll be opening doors for our yearly event, Devastation and Destruction, now known as Dad's Day there. It's going to be a nice celebration. Again, we're having a great time bringing that Titan Championship Wrestling action down. But also, again, we have some other collaborators here as well with Atlantic Coast and some more that will be making their way for a grand night like this. That meet and greet that's also going to be taking place. That also, as it was announced earlier, Vladimir Kolov making his way there for
That's right.
meet and greet. So again, that history, just so much that's going to be a part of it. We even got the boss man in the chat right now, Mr. Fetsky, saying hello, hello.
There he is.
It's a good time, man. It's great to see and just to be able to do something like this and to be able to have those just working relationships and to do something like this, especially with such history there with the museum and just what it means to the town as well.
Yeah, yeah. And just building off of the relationship, we guys, we started with everyone back in 2023, and then to come back and do this again, and we're really wanting to make it an annual thing here. We've had people asking about it, and any event is, the more often you do it, the more people are going to ask for it. So
Yeah,
I think we'll have a great turnout Saturday, and plan to do more in the future. Especially, these guys can, but there are plenty of places you can rent and put on a show. And Billy and these guys, and they want to do it here, and they want to help the museum. And that's I think that's really special, especially in this business, for them to set out to give back like that, and it's very much appreciated here.
definitely. No, that's been one of the main things with TCW. Again, we've said it with every event we've done. We've done a lot of these where we are helping a just with the funds doing something better than just. It's not about loading pockets here. It's a business, but also still doing amazing things and to be able to help something like this that has been such a fixture in the town, and also just with everything there. Again, we talk about the importance of the Andre collection, but also all the historical things there, being that still also a museum in its own right. So,
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I think we forget because we've had so much going on the Andre side,
yeah.
that there's 4,900 square feet in there.
When you
That
told me that number, I'm just like, yeah, that's a huge museum.
I mean,
So,
for a town of 1,000 people, it
yeah,
is absolutely incredible to come in here. I've been coming in here for quite a bit, for over a decade, and I still find new stuff that I haven't seen before. And the exhibit, I've been to uh, plenty of museums, whether it's in DC or New York, wherever. I'd put these exhibits up with anything I've seen. So it's really amazing to have that right here in our backyard in our tiny little town. And then to add the Andre part to it has just made it even bigger. Um, and gotten us so much publicity. We've been on national television with it several times. So, we got calls from shooting the A&E WWE show. We still get calls about that. Like, are you that place that was on TV? Like, yeah, we are. Come on.
No, that has to be again. I can imagine when first being brought into this and to do this whole the thing with the Rankin Museum. Never would you think, oh yeah, this would be so tied into wrestling now. That it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Well, and myself, because
yeah,
I've had people call and want to talk to that Brett, the promoter.
yeah.
So I was like, oh, now I'm a wrestling promoter. It's like, okay. I mean, hey, I can picture that.
Hey, that's it's how it starts. It's
Yeah,
how it starts.
that's right. And I've had people reach out. I mean, about getting involved. Well, I mean, Vladimir Koloff. I mean, he called our town hall to get my phone number, and because I met him at a giant celebration, and I'd never met him before. He lives about 2.5 hours from here.
Okay.
Nicest guy in the world, and he called me about something else, and I said, "Hey, we're doing an event in June." He said, "I want to be there." I said, "Hey, that's awesome." He said, anything. He was a close friend of Andre's, a business associate with the Longhorn Cattle, and also wrestled with him. So there's a huge significance there. And for him to say, no, what day is it? Okay, it's in my calendar. I'm going to be there. And want to meet, hey, connect me with Titan or whoever, and I'm ready to show up and bring some fans.
Got you. No, and look again. That's the best thing about it. That it started again as a little just hey, I would love to do this one day, and then now we're at the second one happening this weekend. And again, it's only just the beginning because we've seen just that reaction for it, how much people are loving it, and again, how the relationship has continued to blossom. Where again, now we have Devastation and Destruction, an event that's going to be on IWTV as well. So not only will it be across just in North Carolina, but also you'll be able to see it all across the US and get to see the great stars of Titan Championship Wrestling, Atlantic Coast. And you never know who else might show up because, again, when especially with just the history there of Andre, you never know who might want to stop in and just say hello.
That's right.
So that is the best thing about that right there.
It certainly is. I mean, that's how but Koloff got here at the Andre show. He came in and parked behind the building where no one was supposed to park, and Mooch and I are on the radios. And I was like, a truck just pulled in here, and I ran over there going to say something, and then he got out, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. So it's like, and he introduced himself, and we started talking, and then here we are, him wanting to be a part of it, and again, Billy wanting to come back and come to Ellerby. It's just it means a lot to the museum, and our board of directors as well as the community, because we're a small place, but we can definitely draw a crowd though.
Gotcha. And I wanted to talk about that too, because to give a little bit of light also to not only just a wrestling exhibit of the museum, but also just the side of the historical, just side of things that are there. And just when you talk about how big the museum is, especially now with the renovations, has there been new additions now that again people can expect if they make their way this weekend to check it out?
Yeah, so inside the main museum, we've got a one of the largest collections of Native American artifacts. A lot of it from the southeast, but all the way from the Amazon to New Mexico and Arizona to wherever, Wyoming, Alaska. Just an amazing collection there, all the way to local history, where we
Yeah.
have, I mean, stuff from right here in Ellerby from 150 years ago. This is a community that was grown from agriculture. So there's, plenty of exhibits that showcase that local history here, um, as well as animals that Dr. Rankin was an avid outdoorsman. And, we've got a full size brown bear and a polar bear. and there's a full size mount of a buffalo. So I mean, it's pretty amazing, and jaguars, and I mean, just insane amounts of taxidermy, and
Yeah.
then I mean to geology from all over the world, um, and fossils. It's really incredible. So most of the updating done in there was just a facelift, getting us kind of up into 21st century.
Sure.
Um, so the museum was actually owned by the town of Ellerby for about 30 years. Um, and Doc and a group of people here in town got together and raised the funds, spent the funds to build this building, and then deeded it over to the town. So the town, owned the building and facilitated everything, took care of everything, whether it was heating and air to the water bill. And in 2020, um, we actually purchased the building back from the town for a very, very small amount. Town worked with us well, wanted us to have it and grow, and because in the room next door it was actually the Ellerby Public Library for over 40 years. So the town bought a new site, a bank that closed, and wanted to update the library and get it in a bigger space. So when they moved the library, they signed the building over to us. So we were left with an empty room that it was in desperate need of an upgrade. So that was a large part of the renovation, was getting that up to speed, getting those bathrooms renovated, getting new flooring, fresh paint job, things like that. So um, one thing we're going to showcase this weekend is showing people that room, because people locally will remember it when they were a kid or growing as being the library. Well, now they'll see a wide open room that is here as an event space. We're hosting traveling exhibits. We're wanting to just really have an open architecture where, if we hosted our first traveling exhibit on the American Revolution back in February, and we're looking to do a lot more of that. But then also, kids' birthday parties with the flume that we have. Now we've got a space when there's a kitchen back there. That's where the cupcakes and pizza go. You know, um, and if different groups want to get together and have an event space, it's right there. If we're going to have a meet and greet from 1 to 3 on Saturday, we've got the spot right here next door. So that's the biggest part of the upgrade, was acquiring the property and getting it up to date so we can grow in the future.
How'd you know? That's perfect right there. And again, like we said, all of that will be hosted this Saturday, starting the day at 12 noon right there. Again, also a lot of things are going to be involved, and just come join the celebration there. Food trucks, like you said, live music. And then it ends with some Titan action. That's going to be an insane night right there. And again, all of this with some of those proceeds going right back into the museum there. Just again, continue to modernize it, make it even better, and make it a continued fixture here for the town so it can last years and years to come.
That's right. I mean, that's what we've been here for, what, almost 40 years, and hope to be here much, much longer. And we're in a great position. Our board of directors is as strong as ever. We've got some great community involvement, and then moving forward and doing things like this and partnering with guys like Billy and Titan. I mean, it's we're really moving forward and doing some amazing things. And like you said, it's only the beginning.
Truly only is. Again, when it comes to this, especially now that's going to be an event like this, and again, talks of what can come in the future as well. And you never know, again, what this can mean. I heard Billy making some talks about, hey, maybe a Titan over there in the North Carolina area. So who knows what we can see, in the future, especially alongside you guys at the museum. And we'd love to see the continued success and the continued growth here of what you guys are doing for the town as well.
Oh, for sure. And again, I mean, it's a huge boost to be able to put on an event like this. And when, we've done smaller events in the past, and to be able to make this an annual thing and something for people to look forward to, um, it, it, it only grows from there. and the reach. We had people at the giant celebration. They drove several hours to be here. So they came for the meet and greet, and then they were buying tickets for the show. And those guys remember that show. The people here locally do. So it just kind of snowballs. So every little thing we do, every um, event we can do is just going to make it bigger and bigger.
No, definitely so. I do have to ask this though, when it comes to even the museum now, especially with the exhibit, what has been like the craziest distance you heard someone travel so far to see the Andre side of things, especially?
Specifically for the Andre, I've seen people drive 4 to 5 hours.
Okay.
Now, people with other interest in the area all over the country,
Oof,
and
okay.
they'll make a detour.
Got
Like I've run into people that were, like an IT worker that was doing, a project in Charlotte, which is about an hour and a half from here. And he's from the West Coast. And, I happen to run into him here. Hey, where are you from? Washington, yeah, state. I said, okay, what you doing here? It's like, well, I'm working in Charlotte. I saw you guys on TV or heard about the exhibit. And, still make that hour and a half drive after flying across
yeah.
the country for work. So, and I can't tell you how many phone calls and emails I've received. People just saying, "Man, I can't." Next time I'm in the area, in the southeast, like I'm coming through Ellerby, and the amount of people I've met through this is pretty incredible.
No, that's awesome. Again, this is why we make sure, especially with something like this, putting that over, making sure it's out there so people know, again, especially just how great the museum is, how something like that is, because it's such a, again, that you never expect, especially in a town like that, to now hold such a illustrious collection with Andre the Giant, but also again a great museum in its own right of having such historical figures and historical memorabilia there, and just so many artifacts that you can't find anywhere else but at the Rankin Museum right there.
That's right. So I mean, and most wrestling fans come in, and sometimes it's easy to pick out. I
Yeah.
can see the guys that drive up that are wearing the Austin 316 T-shirt, and I'm like, I know what you're here for. It's this way. Um, and then they'll still, spend another hour and a half in the museum,
Yeah.
just checking it out. Because what we had in the original part of the museum, there were a few pictures of Andre with some local people here and significant figures, like with the local racetrack. Um, and like a pair of his boots are in there. But so that's been there for 30 years. But now, since all of this has been added, in the actual collection, we we have people come in. I mean, I would say at least weekly. I was here. I dropped in Friday, and a group came in, and I said, like always, "Hey, how you doing? Where you guys from?" And they said, "Well, we're from Moore County, which is about 35, 40 minutes away." And she
Okay.
said, "But this is my brother-in-law. He's from Rhode Island, and they're huge wrestling fans." And so they had heard about it when they came to see her. Here they are.
Yeah.
Point them right to Andre. Take a look at his rings, sit in his giant chair that I'm sitting in. Um, Vince had this chair made for him. So, and we acquired it about 3 years ago.
That's insane. That's
Yeah.
heard that.
So and like the machine mask that we
Yeah.
have, things that people, significant things that people remember that they come here just to see. There's a caricature drawing that Bret Hart did as a get well card for Andre when he had ankle surgery. And it is, I mean, it's probably signed by 40 or 50 guys that are in the picture. Um, and it's every name you could possibly name from the late 80s.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, just stuff like that just makes it so much more just a priceless experience. That
it,
just
it, re-
you can
it
only do
really
again
is.
coming down to the museum there, which
Yeah,
is
that's right.
it's insane. But also, I'm glad you said that though. That a lot of people that even do go for that part with the exhibit that do stay and look at everything else, because it is an experience to also just get to see so much of American history there, and just also things from all around the world that you can just, oh yeah, I'm here for Andre, but then it's like, oh, okay, this is from this. I know. And you get to have that learning experience there, which I hope again
Exactly.
a lot of people take advantage of that this weekend if you're going down, especially for the event and for just the meet and greet as well. Go have a good time, go enjoy, go learn some things. Hopefully some of our Titan roster does that as well. So that way they might learn some things for their battles that night
Yep.
for their matches later on in the night for devastation and destruction. Because
Yeah, I hope to see a crowd come through here. We'll be open, and like our normal hours are 10 to 5.
gotcha.
So we'll be here that morning, but we're really going to kick things off at noon with the kids. And then, like I said, band starts at 4,
Ooh,
and they're going to shut down as the doors open at the middle school, which is, out the back door here. I can see the school from here. It's a block away.
oh, there you go. So
So,
that's
so,
perfect right there. So
yep.
again,
So,
have a full day with everyone. Have a good time. Have some great, just again, learning experience as well. Having some fun. Meet the great Titan and Atlantic Coast rosters, and then go out and go see a great event later that night with devastation and destruction. But yeah, it's gonna be a great time Saturday. Hope you all can make it down. If you haven't already, make sure you get your tickets now. Link to all of that will be in description down below. Brett, but before we let you go, if there's any last words you want to say here for everyone watching, especially to the Titan Nation.
I mean, I just look forward to seeing this show, and I'm very thankful. I mean, on behalf of our community and our museum, for to be included and to be chosen for Titan and ACW to get together to do another event here, and to want to help out the museum. It's greatly appreciated, and the anyone here locally that hasn't seen it, they need to. Just the caliber of talent that these guys bring to the table is really amazing, and we're truly just grateful to have them here.
There you go. Awesome. Again, we thank you so much for coming on and getting to talk to us a little bit here about the museum and everything to expect this weekend. And guys, once again, if you haven't already, make sure you get your tickets now. Be there for the stacked devastation and destruction event. But as always, don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people. Respect the craft. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, everybody.